Hey there, creative people. What's happening, buds? Welcome to the podcast. My name is Ryan Leacock. This is the podcast for people who make and appreciate beautiful things. Today on the podcast, I'm talking to photographer Taylor Jones. Taylor is a super talented guy. He is the creator of Dear Photograph. He's taken photos of the president and the prime minister at the White House, and he's my neighbor. Taylor wandered down the hall and sat down with me for our little chat. We get into it about his mental filing system, how time and that filing system are the formula for his creativity. He tells me about some of the wisdom that his grandfather passed down to him. Oh, and Taylor freaks when I mention sports, so we talk about sports for a bit. Podcast schedule is a little all over the place right now, but only for the best reasons. I left my job last week, cue applause, and oh my God, what's he doing? One of the things I got going right now is my design company, Creative People Design Services, just starting that up. I've spent the last 15 years in all sorts of roles over the design industry, and I'm taking that experience and building an all-in-one-place approach to graphic design. It's never made much sense for me for one company to handle your prints and your cards, another company to handle your signs, someone else is doing your logo and your branding, while someone else is doing your social, and then that's a different person than your web guy. It's got to be easier for everyone if that was all handled in one place. My team and I are here to help. Get in touch at creativepeople.design. Well, that's enough bumper talk and promo. Here's my in-studio chat with Taylor Jones.
I like doing this. It's almost therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's like free therapy. That's what I've been doing for the last year.
Yes, you've just been a therapist for everybody.
Yeah, that's okay. I need the therapist now.
Am I good just talking in this general direction?
I think you're good. Yeah.
Moving around like that?
I think it's all right. Let me close the door though.
Okay.
I think sound is one of those things that you could obsess about until you're insane. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
For now,
That's
anyway.
Good.
So
that means sometimes I think the other way where I'm like, fuck. I find I try to perfect things too much, but like being scrappy with it and just getting it out is more important than sitting on it.
For some things.
Yeah, for some things, for sure.
It's hard to know. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't get anything done though if like I didn't just get it out the door.
Right. Yeah.
For a long time I didn't get anything done.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Because you don't get things done.
If you are ready, we can just dive into it.
Yeah.
I'll have you introduce yourself.
Sure.
And you can tell everyone what you do.
I see on all your social stuff you need like a thing, like a name or like a title.
Like what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's yours?
I have no idea.
No. I think I'll probably just call you a photographer.
Okay, that works. I'm good with that. Okay, cool.
We can get into all the stuff though. I'd like
Let's
to
get
hear.
in.
Maybe I'll have to change it after our conversation. Apparently I don't know that much about you.
I do so much random shit. It's hilarious.
It's like we were like neighbors for how long, and then you're like, then I found out about the Dear Photograph, and I was like, my mind had them separate. Oh, that's a connection.
Yeah, it's either that or people think I'm also Taylor Jackson, which is hilarious.
Well, I don't know who that is. I probably do. I'm so bad. I'll like remember names, but then when I'm not,
it's totally different when you don't
it's
have
out
a
of
phone
context.
in front of
Yeah.
you don't see their profile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like the way they write their name, or the color of their icon, whatever.
Yeah.
So how about you introduce yourself, tell everyone what you do, and we'll get into it.
Sure. So my name is Taylor Jones. I'm a photographer and video producer and a bunch of other things, but we'll dive more into that. Yeah, my main things are being a photographer and producing videos locally here in Kitchener.
Nice.
Yeah.
So just for everyone, we're neighbors, and
Yes.
we're in the same building downtown Kitchener.
Yes.
And I didn't know you before. I'd heard about you, and I've interviewed Trisha.
Yeah.
But it's cool that I've been down the hall from you, and I really haven't learned that much about you. I've been kind of like waiting for this conversation. So.
I know. And once I saw you were coming in here, I was like, oh, this is going to be good to sit down and chat with you. Just because of, like, I know you're going to be bringing in a lot of really cool people once all this lockdown stuff is said and over. But it's good that we can be here and we can talk and we're neighbors and learn more about each other.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I've listened to the podcast and I've I was like, oh, maybe one day. Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Well, likewise, I've like seen you down the hall. I'm like, what's he up to? I'll find out. So let's go back to the beginning. Taylor, you're young. Creativity was a part of your life back then?
Yeah, it was a natural thing. That was always a weird kid. I always like just did weird, different stuff. My parents, I'm sure they knew as a child that I was going to have more of my creative side in my life. My mom's probably the most creative person in my family, so I got it from her, which I'm happy with. My dad's got all more of the hands-on stuff.
That's a good
smart.
combo.
Oh yeah, he's smart in that way. So I got more of the creative side. But yeah, always a creative kid. Like I remember in school, I was always so drawn to like doing the yearbook. I remember in grade school, I was like grade 6, taking photos on a floppy disk camera, and then wanting to do the yearbook. And my mom owned a scrapbooking store, so we always had photography around, and she was always coming up with all these designs for her scrapbooks, and I kind of took from that, having photos and cameras around, I drew an interest to it a lot. And I'm a snowboarder, skateboarder, and I was always the guy that had the camera in his hands instead of the guy doing all the tricks all the time. So there's all these little instances that I look back at that and I'm like, oh yeah, those were definitely the things that like started me off. And like it was a camera for sure though. The camera was like, for me, is just like this magic tool that I can use to create cool things, and it's my weapon of choice, that's for sure.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
One of the things as you're explaining that, I like that scrapbooking thing because it makes me think of that project, the Dear Photograph. What I love about it is like that physical presence that we miss out on a lot of social media, but having the photo of the photo and having time, it brings nostalgia in. But I especially like that, physical photo in people's hands. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to me that was part of the photography world for you, was that this scrapbooking as well.
Yeah, it was all part of the formula.
That's
for sure. And I give my mom full credit all the time for it. She was always the one, when I remember being a kid and just always being so frustrated because she wanted so many photos of us. And I remember her saying, like, one day you'll thank me. And like now, like I can't even thank her enough, right?
Yeah.
So it's been really cool with all of that. And Dear Photograph was such a formula of like my life, where I'm like a nostalgic old guy. Like as a kid, I was even collecting newspapers of like big events that were happening, and for some reason I've always been drawn to the past in a weird way. And Dear Photograph came to be because of this weird formula of being younger, being this old nostalgic guy, but also understanding the power of the internet. And this was in 2011, and realizing what I could do with it. I was always getting in trouble when I was in class at Conestoga College for doing other things on social media before other people, a lot of people were. It's because I had this thing turning in my head where I knew there was a formula to something with my old photos that my mom had sitting around in the house, and social media, the way it was turning in 2010, 2011, Instagram just started to pop up. So it's like this new nostalgic thing. I had time on my side as well, with it being 2011 and people wanting the yearning for the past, I guess. So I'm very lucky to have my mom to have a camera, for us to have video cameras around, and to kind of show me this magical thing that can take pictures. I was very lucky to have my mom's influence from that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like what you said there about, I think you referred to your idea as like a formula forming. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about that a little bit.
I know it's weird, but I have like these weird intuitions with certain projects that I work on. I know whether it's going to like flat out not work, probably right at the instant I figured, I'm like, oh no, this isn't it. But that formula, I think it's really important that this is why this is like therapy for me, because I'm talking things out in my head and I'm figuring things out. But there's definitely a formula to it, it's hard for me to even understand, but it's definitely has to do with mixing your interests together.
Yeah.
And because you have to, obviously you have to love what you do, and you have to have an interest in it, or else you're not going to stick around with it.
Yeah.
So if there's a way to figure out how, for your, like, this creative interest, if there's a way for you to figure out how to mold it into that interest that can also give you a career, then it's a beautiful thing, because you're walking on a line that a lot of I guess people try to get to in life. And it's just it's beautiful when you can see it and you can understand it. I don't know, for me, I'm so grateful that I was able to see that and be able to experience it, because it's such a cool thing to be able to love something so much, and to be able to, like, I don't know, like, I saw so many people's moments and memories come in. It was unlike any other experience. I mean, it's still going. We're celebrating our 10 years this year.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you. And it's I don't know, it's crazy. It's so cool. It's so cool to have a perspective like that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that formula, because sometimes I found that formulas can change, and there's something like kind of scientific about it, and you're like testing it out. I like that. And it's very positive and very growth focused, to be like, I can figure this out, instead of like how I grew up thinking about creativity was like, you have it or you don't, or like ideas are good or they're not good. But I don't know, dissecting them as a formula, I think our brains can kind of latch onto that and mull it over. And that's kind of the fun part anyway. Yeah.
It's so weird, because I'm not a math person at all. So I say a formula like it's some scientific mathematic thing, but it's not. It's just combining your interests. I'm sure a lot of people do understand what I'm talking about. I hope.
Sure. I think sometimes it's like a feeling formula too.
It's definitely a feeling.
That X factor is just like you were saying. It's intuition, or
it's intuition. I don't know. For sure.
I don't even know like what is intuition and how does it play into creativity. That's something that I find really, really interesting, and it's kind of different for everyone.
Yeah, I picture it as like a filing index in my brain.
Yeah.
Like the intuition, for some reason, running through, and like it's almost like I'm backtracking from like the goal to where I am right now, and then going back forward again and being like, okay, these are the steps to get to that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. Like a visual way of me like trying.
Mine's to just a mess.
Yeah. Oh man. And I say like a filing index like it's organized too, right? No way.
We all imagined like all these files. It's all you're imagining. Like, well, it's in a file format.
Yeah. I just need to find the search button for everything.
You're just like looking through all the. Not there.
No. Sometimes it just pops up.
Yeah. Those are the best
thrown
times.
into my hand.
Yeah.
Other times it takes a few minutes to search for it. That's for sure.
Oh, that's good. So you were always drawn to the camera. When did it? Well, and I guess skateboarding and that's a time-honored way to come up. And I love that. Yeah. When was it? When did it switch into something that you were just like into something that you were really into? Like, when did you decide that you're gonna go for this?
Well, I've always kind of been doing it.
Yeah.
It took COVID to push me over the edge to really, really do it. So, I mean, I don't want to. I'm not thanking COVID, but like I needed the push to get out there, because I was like, I wanted to do it eventually, just because I always felt like I was doing two jobs, one job. Like I had like marketing jobs, and I worked 9 to 5, and then I would come home and do everything at night. So I always felt like I was doing both, but finally, like having my own time to do everything. Yeah. Obviously has its struggles with the ups and downs and the unevenness of not having a paycheck every 2 weeks. Yeah. I think it's obviously a lot of people are doing it now, and it's a way that people can have more time and still, or it depends on what you do, but my goal eventually is to have more time to do other things that I want to do, right? and maximize that as much as I can. So I think doing it this way and just being thrown into it, doing it full time, and trying to find that happiness of having more time and still being able to live. That's what I'm searching for now with this new leap since COVID.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, my whole marketing team got let go when COVID happened, and it's been a good thing because I needed to do it. I don't think I would have done. I would still be working in Toronto right now if COVID hadn't happened. So I know there's a lot of people who there's some people that I know who have used the term thriving in COVID, because a lot of people have changed paths and it's turned into a good thing.
Yeah.
Obviously there's people who are suffering and not having the best time because of COVID, but yeah, we don't need to talk about all that stuff, but yeah.
It is interesting though. Like, I think it's gonna be the thing that defines a lot of us for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
For better or worse. Yeah. And my whole thing is like, I've got to come out of this better. Yeah. If we're gonna go through this, I'm gonna grow in it. But some people don't have that luxury either.
Yeah.
You know, if everything came crashing down, I think that's a very hard thing to get back.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially if you didn't have something waiting in the wings to like, oh, I have this thing, I'm going to jump on this. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah.
It's been tough.
So, okay, clarify something with me.
Yeah.
So I'm still piecing together. So you've been doing photography.
Yes.
For quite a long time.
Yeah.
But it was always a side thing.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the White House and how all that came about. You were doing this like part-time back then?
So the White House was just like one invitation that I got.
Just like one.
Oh, yeah, it was insane. It's very surreal. I saw a tweet on my timeline. This was 2015.
Okay.
The White House social media team was looking for photographers and social media folk who are active to apply to go to the White House to photograph or tweet the experience. And Justin Trudeau was going to the White House to visit Barack Obama in 2015. And so I saw this tweet. I sent a quick, like it's probably a paragraph long, just being like, it would be cool for a Canadian to be there to photograph this meeting of the Canadian Prime Minister and the US President. And I applied, didn't think anything of it. And then I woke up on Sunday morning, checked my email, and there was a letter from the White House social media team, and it had like an official invite in a PDF attachment and it said something along the lines of, President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama would like to invite you to the White House on this day.
Yeah. And
I was like, holy shit. I guess I'm going to go to the White House now.
Wow.
So, yeah, I invited my friend and someone I work with, Alex Marshall, who runs George Briggs Media locally here in town. Asked him if he wanted to come along to make a little film about it.
Yeah.
So there's a YouTube video up online showcasing the whole trip, and yeah, there's like 5 to 7 really good photographs that I got. I was right up close, right on the south lawn, and it was so weird. There's so many Canadian flags lined on all the streets too, which felt odd being at the White House. Yeah. But it was pretty cool. It felt really cool to just be there. It felt like a video game. It felt like I was just in a video game with my camera, being like, oh, this is super surreal. But I was so grateful for that experience, to be able to go shoot something like that. And it's always made me think how I can use my camera to shoot more internationally. Like it is a different mindset for a photographer, I think. I have a good buddy who's a CEO of a travel company in Africa, and like just trying to think of putting my head in the headspace to go shoot go shoot an assignment in Africa, it's always cool going somewhere else and bring your camera with you and experiencing it through the lens. Instead of experience it within your eyes, it kind of gives you two different perspectives when I'm doing something like that. And I always make sure that I do both. Like I don't always have my camera up in my eyeballs, but yeah, the White House was nuts. That was so cool. I still haven't printed the photos out though. No. I need to like frame it with the invite because they gave us an invite when we got there.
Scrapbook it.
I need to make a scrapbook.
You do.
I know. My mom has so much scrapbooking stuff at her house.
You can use like all the American like little scrapbooking things.
You should see all the supplies we have. If scrapbooking comes back, I'm gonna open up a scrapbooking store with my mom.
That's nice.
And the scrapbook comeback is coming.
Okay.
Yeah, 2022.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that stands out to me about all this though is like you kept your day job during all that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. As soon as I got the invite from the White House, I'd be like, "Oh, hi, yeah, I quit."
I was very lucky at the time to have. I was working at Arion Labs, which is their drone company out of Waterloo. They're now called FLIR, or they were acquired by FLIR. But I was very lucky at the time. They were super supportive of it, which made it a whole lot more enjoyable of an experience than having to think about work back here. But yeah, these things pop, like those sort of things pop up, and sometimes work does get in the way of a few things, and I've had to say no, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you said you went there, you took 5 to 7 great photos.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in a photo? Like, what's the formula for you?
I trying to use the intuition again.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. Everybody was like, I remember there was this like pit beside the stage that we were in, and nobody had any idea what was going on, when it was happening, when Trudeau was showing up, when Obama was coming out. So you have to like I had to be ready, but I was so just enthralled with the view that I was seeing, right? So it's hard sometimes to focus in and be like, okay, like I see this security guard coming over here, standing in front of this door, someone's coming out, I need to be ready, I need to change this lens, I need to make sure if I'm filming something, I gotta switch it up, and like there's so many things going through your mind, especially in a moment like that. But yeah, just make sure I'm always just like on my toes, ready. Some will say I'm clumsy sometimes, but I don't think I'm clumsy with my camera. I think I have a better steady hand with my camera. So it's just being ready and using that intuition of mine to be like, okay, this is when it's going to happen, or this is when it's going to happen. This is when I should use my other lens, or the clouds there's clouds coming. I need to make sure I'm ready if this person's coming out of this doorway, that all my settings are set up that when this cloud comes over, it's going to be good, or switching it at the exact second when there is a cloud cover. Like there's a million little things, right, that you're thinking about, but somehow, some way with the camera, I think I'm able to slow everything down.
I like that.
Yeah, and
that's like a video game.
Yeah. Then now it's really a video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, those instances you have to, and a lot of experience like goes into like understanding all that too.
Experience,
So like I've had a camera in my hand for 20 odd years now, and I think going out and shooting a bunch helps to understand those little things a lot.
So when you're on the White House lawn, that you're prepared, like that you've put in the work, and that you've built that intuition in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I definitely have. Definitely have. Because if you're going in there bug-eyed, a lot of people could run in there and take some fantastic photos. Without even thinking about it, that's for sure. But I think having experience behind it definitely helps. Yeah.
Creativity is such a weird mix of like natural ability and like practice, and some people need more practice, and it's different for everyone. You can't nail down that formula at all.
No, you can't. Everybody has their own that
Yeah.
you can get help and get guided for sure, but you have to figure it out. Which I remember hearing people say the exact same thing that I'm saying right now when I was younger, and I was like, but what is it? What is it? Tell me. I need to know. I need that crystal ball.
It's that cliche. Then they're like, you'll know it when it gets here.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They're right though.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to figure it out and use all your experiences and all those intuitions in your mind to figure your own formula out.
What I love about like creativity as opposed to, you know, how I view sports is like you can take your weaknesses and just morph them into a style. Like and just cover for your weaknesses by having a style that doesn't involve them, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like in sports, like you're either like really good, like it's kind of more of like a black and white thing, I think.
Right.
I mean, you can play different positions, but with creativity, if you're good at one thing, you can just, that's your voice. You don't have to worry about the other things.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure.
And then that's part of the formula.
Yeah.
Your own formula.
That's your own formula, yes. I was going to go into talking a lot about sports, but we don't need to do that.
I didn't. That surprises me. Tell me, what were you to say?
Oh, I love sports.
You're full of surprises.
I'm full of surprise. I love sports, man. I'm huge. I'm on this quest to figure out, because I haven't done it yet. I haven't used what my skills and my experience in photography and video producing and creativity. I haven't used it in sport yet. And it's something that's like, it's the last, like, I would say probably the last 3 years, it's been like irking my brain because I want to do it so badly. Like I want to shoot sports in a certain way. It's something that's just, I'm ready to do it, and I need to figure it out. Yeah. I grew up playing hockey, playing baseball, playing golf. And I've always been around. Those are like the three main ones for me. And like dirt biking, soccer, like just always been a sports guy, but I need to figure out how to blend those two things together. So that's my mission.
Well, that would be so frustrating because you like have that, like, I just was talking to someone and they called it like creative cravings.
Yeah.
Of just like those things that you can't get out of your mind. You have that, and then COVID shuts down sports, and like
I know
that. You're like, oh
yeah. If the Kitchener Titans are listening, I want to shoot the Titans.
Creative People podcast huge with the Titans. This is literally the first time we talked about sports. I like sports, and it still hasn't come up.
Oh, this could go on a while if we keep on talking about sports. But yeah, just trying to figure, that's like another interest thing that like is, I think, the next thing that I want to figure out. And I want to shoot, I'm a big film photographer, and I want to shoot sports on film. That's that's it for me. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I like how excited you got too.
Oh, I get sports just hype me up. I get so hyped up. You guys aren't looking at me right now. I look like the biggest hippie.
It is such a contradiction right now.
But I can swing a golf club.
Yeah.
I'm a hippie that can swing a golf club.
I've never gone golfing.
Really?
It just seems like, well, actually, to be honest, in my life, I grew up like outside, like Christian, so everything was like viewing it as an outsider, because anyway, Christianity, its own thing.
Yeah.
So if I didn't like people that were into things, I was like, well, that's not for me. That's a terrible way to live life, because it's like 4 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they like golf? Fuck golf. And then I get older and I'm like, I said no to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't like one person.
You missed out, man. There was a lot of Tiger Woods wins that I cherish as a memory in my brain, just because it was such a creativity in sports. It's a beautiful thing, seeing somebody at their art in a sport.
I love it.
Like, absolutely just demolish the field. Like, it was incredible to see. And I think about those things when I'm watching that too. I'm like, oh, this is such like a beautiful artistic expression in sport.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And I think that's what like draws me into it, is those moments that are like spectacles.
Yeah,
It's like an art form in itself. You watch the highlight reel and it gives you goosebumps the same way that like the photo of LeBron James dunking over somebody does, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's why I'm so drawn to it, because I'm like, I want give me a camera underneath like a hoop at like the NBA All-Star game when all these stars are jumping, and I will get you the shot. I will get you that shot.
They'll be like, get the hippie out of here. He's in the way.
His hair's all over the court.
What I love about sports is just that joint experience, you know, when the Raptors went through their run, or those, when there's such I love energy, and like when everyone got on that same page, and it was just like, and then you even through our TV just watching it, that's like that energy, I just love it. Like and there's almost nothing, actually there's nothing except for maybe a live theater experience that's like the same energy, but other than that I don't think there's anything in the arts that's quite like that.
And those exact same things will never happen ever again. Like, there was only one way that the Toronto Raptors won the championship, and that's it. No one can take that away from us, right? But yeah, it's cool finding those similarities in creativity in sport. And,
it is.
And seeing them and seeing how other people react to them. It's cool.
And I like seeing how you reacted to it. Like, just so, it just like lit you up. I love that.
I love sports, so it'll do it. It'll do it for me.
I think you just named this episode "I Love Sports."
I love sports. Please, that'll be so hilarious. That's what it's called. I was literally building a golf green this afternoon.
I know, you said.
Yeah.
That was my first. I'm like, I really don't know this guy at all.
We can't golf right now, so we're bringing the golf home and building a real putting green in the backyard.
So, I have a neighbor who built a putting green on his front yard.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a word for it.
Yeah.
And for a while, it gets a little bit worse. For a while, he had a sign up that said, no, I've never seen anyone play on it, first of all. I've lived in my house for 3 years. Never seen anyone do anything with it. They had a sign that said, no trespassing, there's a camera. And then, a month ago, they took that sign down and whiteboarded a sign that said, come play.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we should go.
We should go. They had a little change of mind. I like that.
COVID changed them.
Yeah. They thought about what they were doing, the mistake they were making. And now they're just inviting a bunch of people to their front yard.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a trap for the bylaw. Like, look at these people.
Maybe. They're setting somebody up.
But still, no one's been there anytime I've gone by.
Huh.
I drive by it every day, so.
Interesting.
But backyard's a little more normal.
Yeah. We have a backyard that's suitable for it.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot of people. No one would be able to know unless you were back there. But on your front yard, it's just asking for it. That's weird.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
We got way off there.
We did. But it was a good path.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Sports. Thanks for ruining the podcast, sports. So one of the questions I like to ask is, along the way, did you get any advice that really helped you?
Ooh.
Or how do you feel about advice, actually? Like, it seems... Yeah, just let me know.
Advice. I'm in a weird place with advice right now. Yeah. My grandfather passed away a few months ago, and he was the advice. He was my soundboard. So advice is like a spot for me right now that I'm so lost in.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was my guy. Like, call him every day.
Wow.
And he always had the answer. But I'm starting to learn that when someone passes that you're close to like that, you already know the answer most of the time. You know what they would have said. So I'm trying to listen to my own advice now, which is weird. I feel like I don't have that because he was very like entrepreneur business. From business sense, he was 80 years old. His mind was still going like crazy. He was, and I'll be the exact same way. Going till I stop. Always be thinking about projects and businesses, and so I'm in a weird spot with advice because I don't have that mentor. I don't have that person that I usually go to.
Yeah. That's really tough.
It is tough. It sucks. Yeah. Death sucks, but you learn a lot. You learn a lot from it. I'm definitely like a different human being than I was 2 months ago, which is crazy to feel. But it's also like a really beautiful thing to see the world in such a different way without somebody there, because this guy meant so much to me. So it's tough, but trying to figure it out. And I mean, no one will ever be able to fill those shoes for me, so I think it's like kind of on my own to figure it out. And I have that his voice in my head whenever I need it. So that's where I'm at with advice.
Was there anything that kind of stands out that something that he taught you?
Do you want me to read you his list?
Whoa. Sure.
I have his list. Let me pull up his list. He was a CEO of a stainless steel company.
Yeah.
And he did a bunch of land development, and he ran golf courses, and he always had the answer. But he was a very, very good leader. And I was fortunate enough to work with him probably like actually work for him like the last 10 years. And everybody that I talked to that worked for him before I ever did, just like had so many amazing things to say about him because of his leadership. So one of my best friends, Mark, the guy who works, he's a CEO in Africa. Before Mark left in January, I call him Pops. I asked him, I was like, Pops, Mark's heading to Africa. He got the job to be a CEO, first-time CEO. Do you have any tips? And he just, from 1 to 10, lists them off from like the top of his head. And I was like, oh, okay, can you like write these down for me? So he sent me an email.
His filing cabinet is very organized.
Oh, I wish I had his filing cabinet. Holy smokes. So his top tips to be a successful CEO and leader, and I think these apply.
Yeah.
This is like in life in general. I think that these are good ways to think. Number 1 is be a good listener. Number 2 is lead by example. Do not procrastinate and be decisive. Number 3 is practice and demand a high degree of integrity. Number 4 is have an open door policy. Number 5 is hire the best of breed. Number 6 is avoid politics inside your group. Number 7 is avoid and break down silos inside the company. Number 8 is build and encourage teamwork. Number 9 is set out a clear vision, achievable goals, targets, and reward achievements. And number 10 is be passionate and have fun. Yeah. And he just...
It's just like covered.
Yeah. And he just listed out on the top of his head. Wow. So his advice, and he was very creative too in like his own way, which is really cool to see. Like some of the last projects we've been working on is some other developments, and he was even like getting into like the week before he passed, like into the design and like architecture, and like he wanted to look a certain way. And like he was I mean, I think that's probably where I get both sides from, because I like to try to think in that entrepreneurial space too when I'm being creative. So he definitely like the biggest influence on me, that advice guy. It's crazy. I still can't believe that he's not here. It's nuts. Yeah. But he knew he had the answer. Yeah. He had the answer, which was cool. What was the question again? Did I go off? Crazy.
We're staying in advice. Okay. We're just was there someone else's advice that was a game changer for you as a creative? It sounds like
that was pretty recent, but I would say, and it's always stuck in my head, is it's a book by Paul Arden. I think it's the name of the book, and it's called "It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be." And I also read Nick Nurse's book, coach of the Toronto Raptors, and he kind of talks about the same sort of thing, where it's when you're talking about things, don't talk about it like it may not happen it's an automatic, like, you're affirming in your head that it will happen, it's going to happen. So I think, like, that sort of mix is, like, yeah, you can be good, but you can, like, it's not how good you are, it's how good the next step is, and how you want to get there.
Yeah.
And then my intuitions come in again, and you backtrack, and then you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Or at least you try to hope to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really good advice.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Plus that list.
Yeah.
That list is classic. It's a classic list.
It's like it's like a book on leadership, like distilled, like
Yeah. Yeah. The commandments.
Yeah. You talked about your mind and all the things that you have going on, and obviously you're an ambitious guy. Talk to me about balancing all that, and how does that balance with your creativity and the people around you? How do you find that?
Everybody always thinks I'm insane.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's stopped me at all. Like, I was working at BlackBerry when I started Dear Photograph.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, my pops, and my mom, my dad, my grandma, they're always like, they kept on saying, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it though, which is cool. I knew that eventually I would be quitting my day job just because of the way that things were happening when Dear Photograph first started. But I don't know. You asked about ambition.
Yeah.
I keep on going back to this intuition. Like, for some reason in my mind, I sometimes jokingly call myself a time traveler just because of all the Dear Photograph stuff, but because of, like, my intuition too. I'm always like, I don't know, I'm trying to find the balance of thinking ahead.
Yeah.
A lot, just because I like backtracking on my goals that I want to do and everything. But I also realizing and understanding all those moments that I see in people's photographs, old photos, and realizing how much they were living in that moment,
mm-hmm.
that I need to practice what I'm preaching or showing here.
Yeah.
And I need to always make sure that I'm living in that moment. And so I think I got to backtrack to ambition. I think all of that helps to try to be ambitious, to see all those little things and have those intuitions.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to use that, what I've learned about the present, and, like, sit in it more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's very hard to do that nowadays with being inside and on our phones and laptops all day. But we have the weather now, which is great. The weather is on our side, and
finally,
and my screen time has gone down tremendously. So.
Yes. So you're thinking about the future a lot, and you're reflecting on the past, and trying to live in the present.
Yeah.
So, like, the future, that's the ambition stuff, and just reminding yourself to come and be here. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like, be in this moment and not so much, or like in your time traveling. Like,
I think it's a good mix.
Yeah.
And then also you got to look back, experience, right?
Yeah.
So there's this timeline that we're kind of drawing up here.
Sure.
Where you got to use your past experience. You have to live right now in the moment to understand how you could mold your future, and you have to look ahead so you know what your goals can be, so you can backtrack to now and figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. I like that too. I'm a very visual person.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
I can do this all in my mind, so I'm like, I think that way too, so I'm like, it's a bunch of spinning plates, so
it is.
You can just keep track of it.
Yeah.
Some people can't, though.
Yeah, some people can't, but we figured it out.
We get through. So, photography. Let's get into a little bit about that.
Sure.
So obviously you were drawn to the camera and everything that we just talked about time, and what about images grabs you and keeps you coming back to wanting to capture those?
Holy. There's so many answers. Which direction do I want to go here? I'm a massive fan. My favorite photographer ever. Her name is Vivian Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
And if people Google her right now, the story is insane. I don't want to go into, because that could be a whole other thing, but she never like printed any of her images. She never really looked at any of her images. She was a hoarder. She used a different name when she went to the camera shop, and she had all these negatives that she never really looked at. And I think it was 2006, she passed away. She like fell in like, she lived in Chicago and fell in like an ice patch and like hit her head and passed away in a hospital. And her negatives went up for auction because they were in a storage unit, and someone found them, and they were these incredible street photography. And when I look at the work that she did, the photograph that she took, it's like she lived in like a perfect world of photography where everything like lined up perfectly. And when someone is actually able to do that like it's not fake, like it was real, like she actually did it.
Yeah.
I look at it and I'm like, holy shit, I need to figure out how I need to do that in my own way. Because it of course she was a character, like she was this, no one knew where she was from, like she had different names. It's an incredible story. And she was a nanny, so she got to go out all day. She would have these kids, these children with her, and they would just walk around Chicago. The images she took are just nuts. It's mind-blowing, but it encourages me and makes me realize that the type of feeling that I could produce from photos, or like that I can strive to. And there's just something about, and that's why film photography interests me so much, just because it reminds you to slow down. But there's something about taking a photo with a film camera that, like, of course with digital you have 100 million thousand images that you can take on your memory card now, but being able to slow down and the shutter going off, and it sounds like a bunch of my intuition folders combining together and making this beautiful noise. It's insane. I love the sound of cameras. It's like an ASMR thing. I'm sure people could YouTube and hear camera shutters. But seeing how she was able to do that and the way that she did, like when I saw her work for the first time, it was like I didn't know about her until probably like 7 or 8 years ago. But when I saw it, I immediately was so connected to it, because it was old cameras, old photos. I already have kind of delved into that a little bit. Yeah. And then just the way that she used her camera and the way that she saw the world, I was like, I wish I could just get inside of her brain and have all those answers and what to do, but I'm on my quest to figure that one out too.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And I like that the time thing came up again, but like in a little bit different way. When I was looking through before you got here, I was just looking through your photos because I was like, well, I should look at a couple of his photos before he gets here. But you said something that was like, a little caption. It was like, a good photo is like life on pause or something like that. It was and that stood out to me. And it's kind of what you're talking about here. It's like, it's like just capturing, and especially in that film thing, it's like locked in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm not good at taking photos, but that's why I got like that, my little guy, there. Because with my kids, it started because of my kids. Like I wanted to, they're only in this time period for so long, and you take so many photos and then you never get them printed. Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm never gonna get these printed, so I might as well. This forces me to have something physical, and even if it's badly taken, it's still that moment captured. And what if I lost all my photos on my phone? Like, sorry, I'm gonna get off on the side thing. I'm like, no, digital photography is like, as a parent, you're like, but this could just go.
Yeah, I know. I back things up a million times. Yeah. Because I'm scared of losing every single moment I've ever had on film or on camera. So I feel you on that.
And I feel you on that. That's what drew me to, that Instax. And I have a couple of them because I was like, I just want to, you're only in here looking like this like one time.
Yeah.
And now we have like a physical.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's important to some of us, but I think it is.
I think about it. It's like, sorry, I'm going back into death again, but I've never looked at photography in a way with like death as much as I have now, Whereas I look back on all those photos that I took of Pops and like, thank God I did that. Like, what happened? I mean, I have his all the memories that he gave me in his face and my mind, but like, he's not here anymore. And if like those photos now they're priceless to me. Those photos are the best photos I have are of his face, right? And that's why Dear Photograph became as popular as it did, because it allowed people to it was sort of therapeutic for people to use a photo to go back in time, and with photography with Dear Photograph you go back in time by holding the photo up. I mean, I feel like I didn't really explain Dear Photograph.
Explain it. I can move it back to the beginning. Okay. Dear Photograph, explain it to me, because obviously I didn't know. I have a whole spiel. All right, go for it. Like that. Let me write something down because I don't want to forget it. Okay. Dear Photograph.
So it started, I was sitting at my kitchen table looking through old photos with my family, and I came across a shot. It was my brother's, it was his third birthday, I think. And he was sitting with his Winnie the Pooh cake in front of him. But I was sitting in the spot from where my mom took the photo, and he was sitting in the spot where he was in that photo. So I took it out and I was like, oh, I should like take a photo of this, because I just got my first DSLR like a few months prior to that.
Yeah.
And I took a photo of it, and there's a few more from around the house that I could do the same thing with. So I went around. My parents were like, what are you doing? Like, don't worry, I'm taking photos of photos.
Yeah.
Like, fucking weirdo. Tumblr was hot at the time. Tumblr was huge in 2011. And when I was blogging, like I bought a ton of domains at that time, was trying to like throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So I started this Tumblr. I uploaded these photos that I was running around the house taking, and when I was uploading the photos, it asked for a caption, and I was sitting there, I was like, maybe I should add a caption. What should I do? And people write letters to people, and they write Dear whoever, and I wanted to write like a letter to this photo that I was like time traveling in.
Yeah.
So I wrote Dear Photograph, and then wrote a caption about what's happened between the past and the present.
I like that one.
And uploaded all of them, sent it to a few people, and like 24 hours later hit the front page of Reddit. It got like 250,000 hits. This was big in 2011. And then I had like 10 photos on the website, and people started like sending them to me, their own. I was like, oh, this could be like a curated like exhibit online of people's memories and stories. And the press got it snowballed like out of control. And I was working at BlackBerry at the time. I just started at BlackBerry, and every day my boss would come in and he'd be like, oh, how many hits did you get today? I'd be like, oh, this many. And it kept on rising. I think every time it kept on rising, he was getting a little bit worried or a little bit more worried about me leaving my new job I just started. I stuck around for 4 months. Honestly, whenever I talk about it, I feel out of place talking about it, because it's whenever I would score a goal in hockey, I would always skate back to the bench and not celebrate and go out and do the job that I'm supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
And I always had this humble way of myself, and I feel mixing that with something that was such a spike in my life it's weird talking about it, because I don't like, I've just always had this weird thing where I'm like, am I talking about it too much, or am I just like passionate about it? And it's like this cool thing that happened. But sorry, that thought just came into my head when I was explaining it, because I don't know how people feel whenever I tell the story about it. But I got like a bunch of publishers coming to me to turn my website that I just started into a book. So I spent that summer figuring out who was going to sign my book deal with, this 21-year-old lost boy in the world trying to throw spaghetti at the wall. All of a sudden something sticks, and you're thrown into this torpedo of the publishing world, the internet, press, media. It was a lot.
That is a lot.
It was a lot. And I think because I had no idea what I was doing at the time by buying 40 domains and trying to like make something work. Like I wanted it to happen, but I didn't know what it would actually turn into and be like. And it was an incredible experience. It was absolutely insane. But I always, like looking back on it now, I'm always thinking like I have a lot of anxiety, and I talked to some people about it, and being at this height, and then like years later you're not at that height anymore. It has an effect on you, and I always look at how I learned from that big ballpark home run, slam dunk that I did, and it's crazy to look back and think about the highs and the lows in between there. But it was an incredible experience. Like it was nominated for a bunch of Webby Awards.
Yeah.
I got to meet people that I never thought I'd be able to meet, and I get weirded out talking about it, but because I'm so grateful. Like it's such a weird one.
Yeah.
I have an odd time speaking on it.
Yeah, it makes it, well, and from your perspective, you were just, that's what's so like addicting about ideas.
Yeah.
Is that you had no idea. You were just sitting at the table with your family.
Yeah, you never know when it's
and then it
hit.
was like, oh, do this and do this, and like you weren't trying to do any of the stuff that happened. Like you were obviously throwing stuff at the wall, so you were looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
But it was just a natural thing of like,
but it was my interest. Like I was I was sitting at my kitchen table looking through old photos with my family, because it was something that we just did because my mom had scrapbooks and photo albums downstairs, right? So it's those things that you're like, oh, like that. You hit that, you got to run with it, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was so young.
Yeah.
And but it's so cool to see how, like, hey, if you do something long enough in an interest that you got, you never know when it's gonna hit.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that I need to think about more myself, because I've seen it happen, and it can happen again at any time. Anybody can. How you can go on TikTok and dance. Yeah. And you could be a shining star in this world. Like, it's nuts. Yeah. The opportunities that we have at our fingertips now. So people just need, like, your interests just need to help guide you. That's for sure. Or else you won't be interested.
Yeah.
Right?
He'll be like locked into something like, I only did this for the likes, or for like the attention. Mm-hmm. But that's once you get the attention, like, well, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. Yeah, but you better like it.
See, that's crazy. That wasn't even a thing in 2011.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you. I think you could like things, but like people didn't use it as a metric.
No.
Then.
You really hit on something though. This last weekend, my wife was getting her vaccine, and so I was out with my kids.
Yeah.
And I just was like, oh, I'm gonna go. I like to show my kids where I grew up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've driven by my old house. We just got a dog, and I was like, why don't we walk through my old neighborhood? We can't do anything. This is how desperate I am. I'm like, what am I going to do with my kids? I was like, well, let's walk through my old neighborhood, and we'll go play at a park. And there's this photograph of me when I'm a little kid, and I'm in Halloween gear, and I'm standing on this wall, in front of this wall, and I got to pull it up on my phone and say, like, kids, your dad was right there. So I'm trying to do it on my phone. But
you were doing a deer photograph.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And it was a really cool experience. Yeah. Like, and that's what I love about this project is like, it's that experience in like one photo, you know, and the story behind it and stuff like that. It's time is such an interesting thing, and how a lot of things don't change. That wall was exactly the same. Yeah. Like, that's the weird thing. It's like so much has changed, but
my mom's kitchen changed in all of the photos that I took. She's happy about that.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's deer photograph it's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's a thing, and I'll always be so thankful for it. I saw this. I wish people could see. I saw this chart that had like your life.
Yeah.
And then there was all these like veins coming out of it, and there was like one line that was a different color than all these other veins, and it's like that is the line that you're taking, and those are all the other opportunities that you have. But there's so many more other opportunities on the line that you're on right now.
Yeah.
And I think I'm starting to think about that a lot, about how you can just go in so many different ways. This has turned into not a creative.
It's a really positive way to look at life.
But yeah, no, it's I don't know, time's crazy.
Yeah.
We got it. We're in it right now. We're talking about it. I love it.
So I want to know, when you picture your creativity in that filing cabinet brain, what does it look like?
It looks like my desktop on my MacBook.
Yeah?
Yeah. It does. Literally, like I see the like file folders.
Yeah.
Of, like, they're not labeled or anything, unfortunately. But when I'm thinking about something, it scrolls to the appropriate place where I should be finding things to pick it out from.
Oh, that's so visual.
Yeah, that's what I see. I don't see it. I more so feel it. I feel that's how it works. That's probably the best way I've explained it, by the way.
Glad I was here.
Yeah, so thank you. It's so weird to think about. That's definitely what I see. Yeah. I have no other way of describing it visually, other than that. Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna say. It was stupid. Man, I've had the best time with you. I think we kind of covered it all. That's my favorite when I'm like looking through this, and I was like, I think like that's the best thing is like when we're just talking, all the things I want to say or like bring up usually just come up.
Yeah.
And it's always really nice.
Yeah.
I want to know two things before
you wrote down a note.
Oh, that was the story about the kid.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me. What was the last thing that you saw that inspired you that you loved that was like, whoa, blew your mind?
Like anything.
Anything.
Oh, jeez. I should say something like that's like in a creative realm, I feel like, because we kind of went off.
I don't know. What did you think of? Why did you say that? Did something else come up?
Because it's just sports.
Well, tell me. The episode's called I Love Sports.
Yeah.
Come on. We're staying with the theme here.
Which one?
Now, I'm like imagining you in your mind. And you're like,
so this is when I'm rolling through the index right now. I'm literally staring. I'm not looking at the mic right now. I'm like staring totally left.
I would say, well, let's just move on. But now I'm like,
no,
I gotta know. I'm invested.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I need to think on
okay.
it. But I need to get an answer.
Can I ask you a different question while you're thinking about it?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to photograph?
100% people.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't photograph people enough.
Yeah.
I always feel weird asking people to take their photos. Like what? Like I wish that it was like, I wish that there was like an exchange of, yes, you can take my photo.
Yeah, like a social construct.
Yes,
that everyone knows.
Sort. Just.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. No one will make that. Privacy laws will not allow that. But people are like photographing people. You get so much more.
Yeah.
Out of a photo, and I've had exercises where I've taken a picture of a scene. I lived in Lake Louise for a few years, and like living in Lake Louise, surrounded by a ton of mountains, it's incredible. I took so many photos, but I was always by myself.
Yeah.
Out shooting, and I wish that I like had more people in my photos. But what I was saying is I've done a few, just like my own little assignments where I put someone in a spot, and then I take them out. I take 2 photos, and I have a bunch of them I look at to see what looks better, whether it does look good with someone or without. And most of the time, I get more of a connection when there's someone in the photo, just because it's a lot easier to connect. You kind of place yourself within their own silhouette.
Yeah.
Placeholder, and so.
And it almost gives it like some context and some like a kind of a feeling of time too.
Yeah. Sure.
It couldn't be any time because there's this person there, and it just provides context, the clothes, like all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely people, but it's all about the light.
Yeah.
It's all about, I mean, I could say that photographing good light is my favorite thing as well, just because when the sun's going down and it's yellow like today, I wish I could show. But I took a photo on my walk here. And it was like the beautiful sun going down.
It's perfect.
So when I see it, I'm like, ah. So I'm so attracted to beautiful, beautiful light. So I would say people in nice light is what I like to photograph the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, with your sports amazing thing you saw.
See, when you say amazing thing I saw, I think of something that I watched on TV. Like,
maybe I just mean like experienced, you know, like just something lately that where you were like, it stopped you in your tracks, you know. I think that's the point of the question. I like when people talk about things that were like, oh, and they have something to tell you know what I mean? It's like I got some like creative gossip. It's like, oh, have you seen this thing?
Yeah. Oh man, this question's eating me alive.
I'm gonna ask you one more question after this.
Yeah.
And I think it's because a little while ago I asked social media any questions you want to ask creative, and I think Trisha asked a question, and I'm gonna ask you it.
She asked a question?
She sent a question in.
To you?
Yeah, that I could ask someone on the podcast.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
Okay, another question while you're looking. Not regard to creativity at all.
Yeah.
After this, I'm going to go practice skateboarding.
Nice.
Give me one piece of advice. I've only done it one time before, and I like fucked up my arm. It was awesome though. While you're thinking about it, it was the first time I ever like got going and like was gliding around, and I was like, oh man, I love it.
See, when anybody asks me about skateboarding or whenever I think about skateboarding, I immediately still think I'm like 16 years old skateboarding. So I'm always like, just fucking like go off that curb. Like, you have to do it. You have to commit.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Yeah.
You just have to commit. That's probably the best piece of advice for skateboarding.
Okay.
Because if you're hesitant with it, it's not going to work out.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to do it. But then, I mean, I can tell you that, and then you're going to fall and break your arm.
Well, I got in trouble from my wife. Like, she was like, you need to wear a helmet. And I was like, well, if I get brain damage, I'm useless. So
yeah,
I got a helmet now, so I can be a little more committed.
Yeah, that's good. It's the elbow pads.
Yeah, I got that too.
You got the elbow pads.
I'm going to be way embarrassed, but I want to learn.
See, now I feel like I just like hyped this answer up too much. But I don't... My creativity this pandemic has dwindled away at the creativity, that's for sure.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
We've been talking for a while. That hasn't come up.
Oh, I know, but like, it's just like sitting in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's just so hard. I do the same things every day, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then that sits in my head, and I think about that. I don't know. I feel like my creativity has definitely gone down in the last year in a bit. That's for sure. Oh, okay. I do have something.
Okay.
It's not sport.
That's fine.
It's music.
Okay.
I've experienced the death of my grandfather. There was music involved in that, which was crazy alone in itself.
Yeah.
And it made me feel things I've never felt before. So it was very wow. But I think I'm just saying in general, and that's probably the reason why it's such a thing for like how this weird connection that I have with music in this moment in time right now. Just because it's so... Everything is so... music for me right now is so multiplied in like every genre.
Can you give me like an example of like how this plays out?
I think it's just more so the feeling of how it just makes me feel so much more because of that experience that I had. And so, but it's funny because when I listen, I love Travis Scott. I'm a huge Travis Scott fan. And when I listen to Travis Scott, I literally... I look like a hippie right now, right?
Yeah.
But this music makes me feel like I can fly.
Yeah.
I think the title of his documentary too is "Look, Mom, I Can Fly." There's this artist named Leif Vollebeck. He's from Montreal, I believe. Makes beautiful, beautiful music. I could go from something like that, and the next song being this song that makes me feel like I could fly up into the clouds and achieve anything. And so I think I've seen that a lot lately, and it's blown me away how much music can alter your mood and make you feel and think different ways. I have this weird thing with music that I find I love just turning on music and diving into work and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I found lately I'll catch myself, I'll be working for like 45 minutes to an hour, and I'll be like, I don't have any music on. But then I think back and I'm like, damn, I think I was more productive when the music was off. So I'm like having this weird go with music right now, but it's blown me away. I think that's what's blown me away, because I've never felt this connection with music like I have, just because of this experience that I had with it. And I'm not a musician by any means. I tried guitar, I tried drums, I can't sing, but I have this very, very close connection with music, and I appreciate all types of music. If anybody asks me, I'm like, I literally listen to everything. Yeah. I love country too. Like in the summer, put on country, it's a happy, feel good feeling, right?
Some of it?
Well, some of it.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
I'm not like a hardcore country guy, but there's a few songs I'm like,
I don't know, you're a chameleon.
Yeah, I'm a chameleon. That's what
Is the Stampede still open it back up?
Literally, this is the third day in a row someone has mentioned the Stampede to me.
Isn't that weird when those things happen?
I miss the Stampede too.
I said it as a joke. You got like real serious, but I miss that shit.
Oh man. Yeah, Stampede was fun times.
Taylor, it's been the best, man.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thanks for joining me today.
I hope that our sports episode here didn't deter people away from this podcast.
They're like, creative people, sports, fuck that podcast. Bunch of sellouts.
Yeah. No, but I think, I mean, everything is a remix. I don't know if you've seen that series.
That's literally what I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Everything.
That Trisha question.
That was her question?
She said, I'm pretty sure, what's your take on originality versus everything being a remix?
That was her question?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
That is weird.
That's very weird. Whoa.
Well, now you have to give us a hot take.
Say it again for me.
What is your take on originality versus everything being a remix?
Oh, you could say originality is a remix as well. Had to come from something. Had to come from two different variables of some sort.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that series called Everything is a Remix that I remember I watched.
Yeah.
I felt like I was probably Dear Photograph time, so it felt like
it was like that kind of era. Yeah.
But I watched it and I was like, oh my god, this explains a lot of things that I've always tried to say or think about. And I mean, originality and like the word itself is being like the first, like it's the the first thing to do it, right? But like you throw everything as a remix and you battle up against it, and you can have the argument that, well, let's say what's a way to compare it in like a physical form.
I don't know about a physical form, but it's like whenever someone like crosses and makes something new, you could trace it back to like, oh well, they just combined this and this. Like,
yeah.
But I don't think that it feels like that at the time. It
doesn't. But if you dive deep, you can find it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if someone's painting, you could say, I mean, I don't know, this could get controversial with all our artists here, but like, you had to buy the paint from somewhere. Someone thought of that idea to make paint. And you bought it.
So even originality has so many other fingerprints on it.
Sources and fingerprints.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a great question, Trish. That's a good question. That's so weird that I said everything is a remix, and that was literally her question.
It was very creepy for me. I was like, can you read upside down?
I cannot read upside down.
I was like, and this is a mess.
But yeah, everything is a remix, 100%.
I got a follow-up question, though.
Yeah.
So we just talked at the beginning about going through this pandemic, or whatever it's called now, and how it's changing us and it's changing the world. I think in ways that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
How does it... This is just off the top of my head asking you this, but how does that play out? I think to me, when I think about everything being a remix, that makes sense in what came before. But I feel like the future might be different. And
see, I'm confusing you now. All these crazy things that I'm saying.
Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, what I'm trying to say is, if everything, for a while, it kind of seemed like things repeated because life didn't change that much. Like, but now it feels like life has changed a lot in the last little bit of time. And this has come up a lot for me because I've been going through a lot of old movies during the pandemic. I don't like not wanting to watch new movies for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's that time thing for me of like, I'm watching something that we don't even understand anymore. Like when you watch a movie from the 60s or you watch a movie from even like the late 90s.
Yeah.
It feels like they're in a different place because of what we've gone through and technology and like everything coming together. How does that play out in everything being a remix? All this.
Everything being a remix in
unprecedented times.
Unprecedented times.
See, that's what I said. All that gibberish, I could have said it like that.
I think people doing their part is a way of this remix having a way to get us onto that other side.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
A way to get us to the other side. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah.
But what we talked a lot about in here was looking to the future. And so it sounds like you're not really concerned about everything being a remix. Like it doesn't really come up for you. Like when you're creating or when you're planning.
Oh, it definitely comes up for me.
Like what do you mean? Like how does it come up for you?
That's all the file folders in my head because I have them, but you can combine them together.
Oh, so it's like the future and then the past folder, and then you put them into one folder.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I fully believe that everything is remixed in some way for sure. So I think that, and everything that I've ever done, like I combined all my interests for Dear Photograph to be a thing, and
that's a remix.
That was remixed. I remixed all my interests together, and I created this thing that had an output to it.
So it's a big thing for you.
Oh, it's massive. I always think about it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I think now I don't think like everything is remixed doesn't pop into my head every single day.
But it's like
I think it's just ingrained into my head and something that I try to do. I think all that now I just do naturally. It's just a natural thing because I'm always pulling from different trees or different folders to mash things together to because if you don't, you're just stagnant one line if you're not trying to grab different things and remix it up a bit in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah, it's a formula, but it's also a formula for experimentation.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's the fun for you.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own way of doing it too.
Yeah.
Like figuring it out. I hope my explanations of it can maybe help one person be like, oh yeah, I have that too. That would be nice. But yeah, everybody's got their own way of remixing things.
Yeah.
But I believe in it. Yeah, that's for sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
Taylor, I had the best time, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been great to chat.
See you down the hall.
We'll see you down the hall.
See ya. Taylor's great, isn't he? Man, we had such a good time. I love being in the studio, and I really love the way that Taylor's mind works. I like what he had to say about not celebrating when he scored a goal, because he was just doing his job. I like how he related that to its creativity. We're creative people. It's our job to make things. So I don't think Taylor was saying, not celebrate our wins, but instead it's a good reminder that it's the work that matters. We're just doing our jobs. I love that. Thank you, Taylor, for being on the podcast today. I'm glad I finally got to know you. Thank you for your photos, for Dear Photograph, and for your insights on creativity. Appreciate it, man. Alternative titles for this episode could be It's All About Light. Beautiful, beautiful light. Or Taking Photos of Photos. Subtitle, Fucking Weirdos. The podcast was produced by me, Ryan Leacock, with music by Dylan Sitz. Big thanks to Josh and Mixed Media Sound for cleaning up these sounds. Special thanks to Erin from Him and Her, the woman who brought Taylor and I together. Have a good week, guys. Do the work. Go all in. Talk to you next week.